This was the moment everything went completely wrong. Imagine waking up in a terrifying, inescapable prison made entirely of glass. Faceless guards are watching your every single breath, and one wrong move, well, it could destroy absolutely everything. History tried to hide places like this, but we're uncovering the truth. So, what actually happens when the world's greatest escape artist gets locked in a box with zero way out? Tension is rising. Trust? Yeah, that's a total illusion. And we are about to witness a mind-bending game of survival that pushes the absolute limits of human genius.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Before this whole glass nightmare, our guy, Ray, was already a total legend. To really get his genius, you gotta look at the mechanics of physical security. Take a standard electronic keypad, right? When a guard punches in a code, the natural oils from their skin leave behind a microscopic residue and, even more importantly, a lingering thermal signature. By using just a simple piece of plastic cut from a milk carton, Ray can literally press it against the keypad to lift that residual heat map, revealing the exact numbers they pressed. You combine that with a tiny, tightly wedged piece of tissue paper to stop a mechanical door latch from fully clicking, and you perfectly time a 7-minute guard smoke break. Boom, you've got a flawless, totally silent exit.
And get this, he hasn't just done this once. 14. That's the number of maximum security prisons Ray has successfully broken out of. In the real world of cybersecurity and physical infrastructure, this is actually known as red teaming. Big organizations and governments pay these brilliant minds crazy amounts of money to act as adversaries, infiltrating their own highly secure facilities to expose vulnerabilities before the actual bad guys can exploit them. Ray is literally the ultimate red teamer. But his next job? Oh man, it changes his life forever. Because the game shifts completely when he accepts a super secretive, double-pay job to test a black site prison known only as the Tomb. Now, normal prisons, they have metal bars, physical blind spots, predictable human guards who, make mistakes. The Tomb is a whole different beast. It relies on totally transparent glass cells, faceless masked guards, and relentless drone surveillance. This extreme setup actually uses a real-world psychological concept first proposed by philosopher Jeremy Bentham. It's called the panopticon effect. See, when prisoners believe they're being watched every single second, but they can't clearly see their watchers, it forces complete psychological submission. It's literally designed to strip away every single shred of your human autonomy. Realizing he is in way, way over his head, Ray goes to Warden Holmes. He recites his emergency government extraction code, a lifeline he was promised on the outside, 310275. But the warden just stares right at him. The code means absolutely nothing. The tracker is gone. His team doesn't have a clue where he is. He's been completely, intentionally trapped. In this high-tech hell, he desperately needs an ally. Enter Michael, a deeply feared veteran prisoner. When a group of inmates ruthlessly attack Ray, who's now going by the cover name Anthony, by the way, Michael steps right in with a chilling promise. He says he will take the life of anyone who touches Anthony. Just like that, a crucial, seriously dangerous alliance is forged right there in the blood of the prison floor. But surviving the inmates? That's just the beginning. The real nightmare is the isolation box. It's a completely claustrophobic, solid metal punishment cell. The warden uses blinding halogen lights and unbearable, suffocating heat to literally torture inmates. And this isn't just about discomfort, it's calculated physiological warfare. Extreme, continuous light completely destroys your circadian rhythm, blocking any restorative REM sleep. Meanwhile, the extreme heat forces your autonomic nervous system into overdrive, rapidly breaking a person's psychological will to fight. But even in the middle of this intense sensory torture, Ray's eyes are scanning. He spots something right beneath his feet. A hidden floor plate secured by bolts. A tiny, tiny glimmer of hope. Now, the warden isn't just cruel for the fun of it. He's hunting a ghost. He's brutally interrogating Michael to find a man named Victor. Who's Victor? He's this legendary Robin Hood-like figure operating on the outside. The warden desperately wants Victor's immense hidden wealth, but Michael is protecting his location with his own life. And this brilliantly illustrates just how far they'll go. They provoke a massive, violent fake fight, deliberately getting sent back to the hotbox together. Once inside, Ray performs an absolute masterclass in improvised sabotage. He chews a piece of standard prison bread and presses it right against the surveillance camera. Why bread? Well, the enzymes in your saliva mix with the complex starches in the bread to create a super thick, highly adhesive, totally opaque paste. It perfectly blinds the optical lens without triggering the electronic glass break or tampering sensors. Genius, right? Then, using a tiny piece of scrap metal Michael risked his life to steal, Ray begins to slowly, agonizingly unscrew that floor plate. He squeezes down into the ventilation system. He crawls through the dark, rushing water that's threatening to sweep him away into the absolute abyss. He finally pushes open an exterior hatch, expecting to see dirt or maybe a concrete perimeter wall. But what terrifying secret was actually hidden beneath the prison floor?
And then it happened. The massive twist that shatters absolutely everything. He looks out and sees nothing but endless, dark water. The prison isn't underground at all. It's a massive, towering cargo ship floating entirely off the grid, right in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. A physical breakout suddenly goes from highly improbable to completely impossible.
But giving up just isn't in their vocabulary. They start executing an impossible plan. First, they construct a makeshift sextant out of stolen eyeglasses. If you don't know, a sextant is a brilliant historical navigational tool that measures the precise angular distance between a celestial body, like the North Star, and the horizon. By crunching that math, you can calculate your exact latitude on Earth. They recruit another prisoner, Javed, who literally risks his life to use this tool to map the stars during his outdoor prayer time. He pinpoints their exact coordinates off the coast of Morocco. Finally, they manage to pass a secret extraction message to the outside world through a sympathetic prison doctor.
Tension is now at its absolute peak. A bloody, chaotic riot erupts in Block A to draw all the guards. Javed makes the ultimate sacrifice, holding off the heavily armed guards with a stolen rifle so the others can run. Meanwhile, Ray sprints deep into the bowels of the ship. He disables the motion detectors. He completely shuts down the ship's massive engines. This power drop unlocks the upper doors, allowing Michael to sprint up to the deck just as his rescue helicopter arrives.
But Ray? He doesn't make it to the deck. He's trapped below. The warden finds him hiding deep inside the ship's massive stabilizer tank. The warden's voice booms over the intercom, screaming that he's surrounded and there's no escape. And with a sick, twisted smile, the warden turns on the ship's pumps, flooding the tank to drown Ray alive in the pitch dark.
But here is where the warden's massive arrogance becomes his own downfall. The warden thinks he's created a sealed tomb, right? But he's actually just created a giant pressure cannon. See, water cannot be compressed. As the ship's massive pumps flood the stabilizer tank, the hydrostatic pressure inside builds exponentially. According to the basic laws of fluid dynamics, that immense, trapped energy has to go somewhere. The pressure builds and builds until it hits a critical threshold, violently blowing the tank seal and forcefully ejecting Ray completely out of the ship's hull. It blasts him right into the open ocean, finally gasping for air. Floating in the turbulent water, Ray spots the helicopter. Michael throws down a rope ladder. But as Ray is climbing up, the warden runs onto the deck, wildly firing a rifle at them. Ray quickly grabs a pistol from the helicopter, aims down, and he doesn't shoot the warden. He shoots the massive oil barrels stacked on the deck right next to him. A blinding explosion incinerates the warden, tearing the ship's deck apart as Ray flies away into the night. So the crucial point is that this moment didn't just change their lives. It unraveled a massive, incredibly dark conspiracy. That CIA agent who hired Ray, Jessica, yeah, she's actually Michael's daughter. And Michael, he is the legendary Victor. They completely used Ray to break him out. But the most sickening twist of all, Ray's own trusted business partner, Clark, was the traitor the whole time. Clark literally sold Ray out to the warden, hoping Ray would rot in that glass box forever, just so Clark could steal their multi-million-dollar company. But karma? Karma is inescapable. Back on land, Clark is ambushed by Ray's team. He wakes up completely disoriented, surrounded by heavy metal walls. He is locked inside a pitch-black cargo container, stacked on a nameless cargo ship, sailing to some unknown destination. The absolute suffocating claustrophobia sets in. He screams into the dark, finally realizing that help is never, ever coming. A master of escape, betrayed by his closest friend, only to turn the ultimate glass trap into his greatest, most explosive victory by understanding the very mechanics of his own prison. It really makes you wonder about the invisible cages built around us every single day. So who is the real prisoner now? Follow for more hidden stories.